The powerful ship used by General Hux and Kylo Ren, the Finalizer is the first of the new Resurgent-class Star Destroyers whose size and firepower clearly violate the treaties governing the construction of capital ships agreed by the New Republic and the Galactic Empire. The Finalizer's heavy weapons are augmented by 2 wings of starfighters, 100 assault craft, and a full legion of stormtroopers trained since birth for loyalty to the First Order. The Resurgent class served as a mainstay of the First Order Navy, replacing the then-aging Imperial-class Star Destroyers. Much like its Imperial predecessors, the Resurgent destroyer featured 8 dorsal heavy turbo laser turrets in pairs of 4 on each side of its main tower, in addition to the 2 triple-barreled heavy turbo laser cannons on its underside in front of its main hangar. No longer having the exposed conning towers of the older Imperial-era vessels, bridge height was reduced significantly. Lessons from the past were learnt. Further improvements to better protect the bridge tower were made, along with improvements to the launch response times of its fighter squadrons. Following the Galactic Empire's defeat at the Battle of Jakku, its successor state, known as the First Order, rose to power in the unknown regions, eventually ordering the construction of the new Resurgent-class Star Destroyers on recently constructed shipyards and secret facilities in the galaxy's vast frontier. Manufactured by Quatin Trawler Engineering and designed for advanced ship-to-ship combat capabilities, it served as a symbol of the First Order's power, inspiring awe in the Order's enemies and pride within its ranks. The Resurgent class could launch a full complement of starfighters and assault ships much quicker than its predecessors in the Imperial Navy. The Finalizer is about 2,915 meters or 9,564 feet in length. Resurgent-class Star Destroyers featured a complement of 19,000 officers and 55,000 enlisted personnel. The Resurgent was armed with over 1,500 turbo lasers and ion cannons, point defense turrets, point defense missile emplacements, and tractor beam projectors. While the larger Mandator-class Star Dreadnought is about 8,000 meters or 26,246 feet in length. Taking inspiration from the Imperial-class Star Destroyers of the old Empire, but lacking the resources to construct vast numbers of these capital ships, the First Order designs would consciously emulate the appearance of the Imperial-era ships, relying on the psychological impact factors the design had on their foes. The ship's tractor beam projector was located at the very tip of the bow, while the flight deck deflector shield projector was located a short distance behind. Improving on the design of the Imperial-era vessels, the ship features hull structural bracing in its midsection. Much of the bow was split in two along the side, housing open space supported by a truss structure. Both starboard and port sides of the stern featured standard turbo laser batteries, whilst heavy turbo laser turrets and axial defense turrets were located on the bow. The ship's turret firing control center was located at the aft and was protected underneath the larger rear portion of the ship. Ion cannon targeting was located on the ship's port side near the front. Learning lessons from the loss of the Executor during the Battle of Endor, the Resurgent-class destroyer featured an off-center, better protected command bridge, along with increased redundancy in command and control systems. There, standby personnel would take control of the vessel's activities if the primary bridge was to be taken out of action. In addition, an emergency bridge was located in the ship's midsection and was not exposed but built into the existing structure of the vessel. The ship's main hangar deflector shield projectors were located on the both port and starboard sections. A single dome-shaped bridge deflector shield projector encased the command bridge and its occupants, aided by a bridge deflector augmenter further up the ship's kill line. Multi-spectrum sensor towers were located near the primary command bridge and aided in target acquisition. Upper habitation levels near the primary command bridge were reserved for senior command staff. The ship featured a detention center in its upper midsection, slightly closer to the bow of the vessel. The Resurgent class was powered by a single, large primary hypermatter annihilation reactor housed within a dome-shaped reactor containment vessel on the ship's underbelly. A TIE pilot training and briefing complex existed adjacent to the lateral port hangar, while engineering personnel habitation areas were located at the bottom of the ship, near the reactor core. The main hangar was positioned on the vessel's underbelly, where a docking claw aided vessels in landing and departing. Powerful turbo laser batteries allowed for overloading enemy shields and punching through thick armor, along with orbital bombardments capable of reducing planetary surfaces to molten slag. The ship was propelled by 11 engines, with 3 large KDY destroyer ion engines and 8 smaller GEMON-8 ion engines. The main engines were attached to magnetic turbines, along with an acceleration compensator. The hyperdrive generator was located at the very end of the ship's aft section. There, extra power would be derived while the coolant silo and pumps would help lower the temperature of the massive engines. These engines required a subsidiary reactor, reactant silos, and isotope containment wells at the stern. There, extra power would be derived while the coolant silo and pumps would help lower the temperature of the massive engines. One of the finalizer's hangars containing several TIE fighters and atmospheric assault landers. The ship featured both lateral starboard and port hangar entrances, with hangar flight control bridges overseeing activities in both bays. The logistics hangar reception bay and ground vehicle storage were located near the main hangar. Like its Imperial predecessors, the Resurgent destroyer featured 8 dorsal heavy turbo laser turrets in pairs of 4 on each side of its main tower, in addition to the 2 triple-barreled heavy turbo laser cannons on its underside in front of its main hangar. The Resurgent class's turbo lasers deliver more firepower than Imperial hero weapons and boast a faster recharge rate. This advantage stems from kyber-focusing crystals harvested from a secret source deep in the unknown regions. The ship's sickbay was located above the Stormtrooper barracks in the bow section of the ship, before the forward heavy turbo laser batteries. Whilst its size is reminiscent of the command ships of the Empire, the finalizer's design recalls characteristics of Republic-era capital ships from the Clone Wars. Resurgent-class vessels maintained a complement of over 8,000 Stormtroopers, who had access to a training complex below their barrack. Whilst its size is reminiscent of the command ships of the Empire, the finalizer's design recalls characteristics of Republic-era capital ships from the Clone Wars. Its dorsal flight deck, side hangars, and prominent keel are similar to the elements of the Venator-class Star Destroyer, reflecting a renewed appreciation amongst those of the First Order for the design. The finalizer can launch its full complement of starfighters and assault ships much more quickly than its predecessors in the Imperial Navy. The First Order lacks the resources to build huge numbers of massive capital ships like those that once served the Emperor. But the lessons of Imperial power have not been lost on the First Order's ship designers. The finalizer is a devastating weapons platform and highly effective carrier, but it is also a symbol of the new regime's power, designed to recall the era when Imperial might was at its greatest. Other Imperial-era design flaws have also been rectified. The need for a better protected command bridge with increased redundancy in command and control systems was a hard lesson learned from the loss of the Executor at the Battle of Endor. So what are your thoughts on the Resurgent-class Star Destroyer? Leave your comments in the section below. If you want to see more animation regarding other Star Destroyers like the Venator, Supremacy and the Executor-class Super Star Destroyer, check out my playlist on the right-hand corner. Thanks for watching.